What's up, everyone? It's NFL Week 9, and this is your Fanduel first look. Let's do this thing. All right, so getting right into it. My name is Kevin Allen, aka the Geek from DFS Army, and we're taking a look at Fanduel NFL Week 9. We're going to look at the salaries. We're going to kind of get an idea of an initial lineup that we like, but more importantly, we're going to take a look through all of the different position groups to see which salaries are popping out, if there's any values. And we're going to build a first look sort of bottom up type of lineup. So as we do every week here on the FanDuel first look, I like to take a look at the game tiles and get a sense of which of these games really is set to score well according to Vegas projections. So right here on screen, I've got the game tiles for NFL Week 9. First game on our slate here is the Chargers at the Falcons. 49-point total, 3-point spread. You know, I'm kind of surprised at how high the total is on this Falcons game, because the Falcons usually play a slow, lean the run kind of game. Chargers are known for being bad against the run, but man, can we take a shot on Tyler, Algier? Maybe. Let's take a look. We'll keep him in mind. On the Chargers side, I don't know who the wide receivers are at this point because Mike Williams is out. Palmer was hurt. We'll see if he comes back this week. Keenan Allen's still not practicing. I don't know who the pass catchers are, but I'm definitely going to have some slight interest in the tight end. If for no other reason, then that might be the only pass catcher. So we'll keep that game in mind. Dolphins at the Bears, two really hot quarterbacks in this one. And the total here is 45.5, and maybe that's an over for me. Dolphins on the road, 5.5-point favorites. I'm trying to think if there were any relevant trades here. I mean, the Dolphins traded away Chase Edmonds. I don't know that that's super relevant. They picked up Jeff Wilson Jr. Again, doesn't feel super relevant to me. Bears did pick up Chase Claypool, which I think is relevant and actually really does help Justin Fields kind of look a little bit better than what he normally might. I mean, he's got another wide receiver. He had nothing going on at wide receiver. Having a big pass catcher, I think, will be a big help. But, first week in a new offense, I don't know how much impact a new wide receiver will have. Trade deadline stuff. It's crazy. But I do like this game. Fields has been hot. Tua has been hot. So let's keep that one in mind. Of course, we got Carolina at the Bengals. Bengals coming off a rough one. But, stud team off a dud outing, that's fine. Bengals got owned by the Saints, and it was a reminder of how bad the Bengals offensive line has really been this year and just protecting the quarterback. 42.5-point total, not really a very sexy total there. I'm not so sure that we're going to find a lot of plays in that game, so probably more of a skip it situation. Packers at the Lions. Man, this one's crazy. 49.5-point total. Again, what Packers game ever scores to the over? Seems unusual, but every game against the Lions this year has produced a lot of fantasy points. So I am definitely interested in some of these players on the Packers and also the Lions, but definitely more so the Packers side of it. I haven't played many Packers this season, but Romeo Doubs seems to be the WR1. He's relatively underpriced. We'll keep an eye on him. Maybe Aaron Jones. He hasn't really been doing it for us this year. Not getting enough volume, but maybe this is that game when the Packers lean on Aaron Jones. He was starting to heat up last week. So we'll keep him in mind. And of course, on the Lions, Amon-Ra is going to be even more interesting now with Hawkinson off the team. He's probably going to get Yair Alexander coverage. So, I have to really weigh that situation, but I always like Amon-Ra and Swift. I'm a little bit concerned about that usage last week. Colts at the Patriots. This one's pretty gross. I mean, do you want to go back to Sam Ehlinger? You want to take that shot? New England has not done well against running quarterbacks, but I don't like it. I don't like it one bit. On the Patriots side, I think we can go right back to Ramondre if he's priced well. I don't recall that he is, though. I think he's a little priced up there. And without much value, especially early in the week, it's really, really tough to play like 8K plus players, or certainly not a lot of them. Bills going to the Jets to put a beating on the Jets. Bills defense very much in play. Zach Wilson is horrible. And the Jets will have a hard time generating any kind of offense against this Bills team. Maybe Gabriel Davis for a little bit of, YOLO fun time action by the Bills. Jets do have a pretty good cornerback, prime cornerback in Sauce Gardner. So that WR2 Gaby Davis, maybe. All right, that's all I can think of. All right, Vikings at the Commanders. Vikings road 3.5-point favorites, 43-point total. That's pretty low as well. Really don't want to get too crazy with a game at a 43-point total. There's just not that much going on in that game that I'm going to be excited by. Justin Jefferson, always interesting every single week because he's a super stud. Commanders, I know. Nah, it's really Heineke at quarterback has not produced much. He's really only throwing, or he's focusing Terry McLaurin. So, I guess Terry McLaurin, if he's cheap enough, we'll keep an eye on him, but he's usually somebody that is a little overpriced for the role. Here's an interesting game in terms of the total. Raiders at the Jaguars, 48-point total, really close, 1.5-point spread. Raiders just cannot seem to win games. This year, Jaguars kind of a little bit of a underdog darling on the betting lines anyway. But I'm interested in this game. For whatever reason, I need to take a look at some of those DVP numbers for both of these teams to get a sense of, if either one of them is vulnerable to a specific position group. Like, can the Jaguars stop the run? Are they good against the pass? But I think I want to have a little bit of interest in this one on both sides of it. Even dare I say, maybe Trevor Lawrence? I love Travis Etienne in this one. That's going to be almost a lock button if he's not priced up significant. Just love Etienne without Robinson. So let's keep that one in mind. Seahawks at Cardinals. I wish this was a home game for the Seahawks. They'd be more likely to be competitive at home. But the Cardinals are kind of a goofy team right now. I do think that both teams can score. 50-point total. Cardinals home, 2-point favorites. This is a game we want exposure to. I want exposure. I don't know what we want. I want exposure to it. So I'm interested in this game. Cardinals side, of course, DeAndre Hopkins. Let's take a look at where he's priced. There's no real running back on the Cardinals right now that we could feel good about. Benjamin, hard to feel good about that, but we'll see what the salary is. On the Seahawks, Fanduel, Kenny Walker is always going to be a strong play. And the two pass catchers, Lockett and Metcalf, are both in play in this one. So let's keep that one in mind. Rams at the Bucks. This is one of the last ones on the main slate. This is the last game on the main slate. 42.5-point total. This feels like a defensive battle. Bucks at home. I do think we could still go back to some of those Brady pass catchers if they're priced in an area that we feel comfortable with. So I'm going to keep in mind, Godwin and Evans. That's about it on that one. I don't really want to play running backs against the Rams. And on the Rams side, they don't have any running backs, so it's no worries there. And we got to see what the story is with Cooper Kupp's ankle before we kind of worry too much about that game. So with that being said, let's jump over to FanDuel and take a look at some of these salaries and see who stands out. So this is really interesting. Josh Allen, top priced guy, of course, and he's always a great play. Even in blowouts, Josh Allen is usually good for a 30-point performance. As a matter of fact, if we take a look at his game logs, you'll see that, these games were like the Pittsburgh game. That was a blowout, 36. Tennessee game, blowout, 29. So he's usually good for about 30 fantasy points in a spot like this. And if we think that's kind of enough, but 9,300, it's going to be a little bit of a tough pill to swallow, especially, and it feels like cheat coding it in the first look to use Josh Allen. Like, we all know Josh Allen's good. Do I need to tell you Josh Allen's good? If I do, stop playing DFS. Just stop. Joe Burrow priced up a little bit here. Playable, but I don't think so. I'm not paying 8,200 for Burrow or 8,500 for Burrow on FanDuel. That's just a little too much for a non-running quarterback outside of tournament shots. But he's got no Jamar Chase, so no. Plus, it's Carolina, not likely to be competitive, so no. Kyler Murray could be interesting at 8,200. As crazy as it seems, he's been pretty weak this year, but Seattle's pretty weak defensively, especially on the road. So Kyler Murray has definitely looked a little bit better with DeAndre Hopkins at the helm. Got the 26er last week, but still lacking a lot of that rushing upside that we really loved with Kyler when he was in his heyday. He's just not running as much. I don't know why. Tua, yes, please. Tua, this is a great spot. I really like this game environment in general. Fields has been playing so much better than he had been. Tua stepping up as well. Those weapons, they throw so frequently in Miami. This could be a sneaky upside game. So I'm going to keep Tua in mind. It's interesting on FanDuel, the QB salaries are all really bunched together here. So, I kind of feel like anything from pretty much like even Burrow, but I think Burrow's just weirdly priced. But anything in this zone is pretty much kind of the same play. So Tua is interesting. Kirk Cousins on the road, revenge game. I almost think it means something to him. I almost think like he when he goes back to Washington, he wants to stick it to him. Almost think that. It's hard to believe, but maybe. Herbert, not a guy that a lot of people are going to play most weeks, but you know what? That's a really good matchup. Atlanta cannot stop the pass. So Herbert, I want to keep him in mind. Geno Smith at Arizona. Justin Fields is interesting. This guy's putting up good numbers here. 26, 24 the last 2 weeks, mostly on the back of a lot of rushing upside, 60 yards, 80 yards, 88 yards over the last 3 games. So he's been putting up some decent rushing totals, and he's just kind of emerging as the guy we hoped he was. I don't know if we just have been in a 3-week anomaly or if it's real, but I want to keep Justin Fields in mind as well. Heineke's no. I'm not super high on Jared Goff, although tournaments, yes, but definitely never somebody I want to play in any sort of let's call it a high core build, so to speak, right? I'm not going to do that, but I do like him for tournaments this week. Mariota's pretty much a no. Aaron Rodgers in that great matchup, man. You just want to play him. I want to. I really do. But Aaron Rodgers has not passed 16 or 17 fantasy points this season, and I don't see where that's going to start happening. So I just think you got to stay away from Rodgers. Same with Brady. Rams, not a good defense. That is not a good scene for Tom Brady right now. Derek Carr, I've said this time and time and time again on every show. I feel like I've been saying this for years. There's almost never a reason to play Derek Carr in DFS. He has never, he's just so low scoring of a quarterback. He peaked at 20 fantasy points this year. I don't get it. I don't understand why people play him. He never scores 25 plus. This could be the week, but even if it is, it'd be the first time or the second time in the last 4 years or so that he scored over 25 fantasy points, and that's what he needs to do. So, it's like a 3% outcome. And even that doesn't win you the millie. I don't get it. I don't get it. Trevor Lawrence, he's another one. If you got the big balls, that he's more of a big balls play. But I do like Travis Etienne, so I'm probably not going to be on him. And the rest of these quarterbacks are pretty weak sauce. So to start off this lineup, I'm going to go with Tua. I like Kyler. It's a close one for me between Tua, Fields, probably Kyler Murray, and maybe Herbert. And that might be my whole player pool for this week. Outside of like some GPP shots on, Goff and maybe Lawrence. But for the most part, this is going to be kind of an interesting week, or just pay up for Josh Allen. Or just pay up for Josh Allen. But I don't want to do that in the first look. So I'm going to go with Tua here. But if we need a little salary, I have no problem swapping over to Fields or Herbert, or really any of this group, or even Kyler Murray if we have a little bit extra. But no, I think we start with Tua and see if we can fit any of Tua's pass catchers. Oof. Not going to be easy. We got to get a pass catcher in there. Let's see if we can make a lineup with Tua and Tyreek Hill. This is not going to be easy. Again, especially early in the week where there is a lack of value plays. They just don't pop up that early in the week. We got to run projections, got to do a lot of different things. But Tua and Tyreek, let's see if we can make this one work. It might not be workable, and we might have to change it. But what I like to do after I kind of figure out my QB wide receiver pairing is I like to take a look at the defense and just figure out how cheap of a defense I can put in this lineup to make a lineup work. And right down here, I'm not going to use Chicago. That's against my team. I don't hate Atlanta against the Chargers, but they're not allowing too many fantasy points to opposing defenses. So I'm going to stay away from that one. Raiders at Jacksonville, no. Carolina at Cincy, maybe. I have a little bit of interest in the Panthers. I think that might be the cheapest viable. Either the cheapest viable may be Carolina. Could be Detroit, even though Detroit stinks defensively. I'm not touching the Jets. Vegas and Jacksonville. I would much rather have the home team. really don't want to spend that much. So let's take a shot on the Raiders at Jacksonville, I guess. I mean, I'm just trying for a low cost one, or actually, why not Miami at Chicago? No, I don't want to really get involved with a defense in a game I'm building around. So, I'm going Carolina. And the main reason is because we've seen so many issues with that offensive line out of Cincinnati. I figure, screw it. They're cheap. And this is a first look. We'll get down and dirty with some defenses later in the week as we kind of hone in. But obviously the Buffalo Bills up top here are probably the best play. I definitely love the Patriots at 4,900 against Erlinger. That's a great spot. Bucks against the Rams. FanDuel does a really good job of pricing the best defenses in the right spot. So, I mean, in FanDuel, I would say paying up on defense might be the way to go. Let's see if we have enough salary to do it. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Let's jump over to tight end. And this game that we're kind of looking at here doesn't really have any tight end of interest. So we'll just do the whole tight end position group. Zach Ertz has not done very well since the return of DeAndre Hopkins, but Seattle is very bad against tight ends, and they're really bleeding points to the tight end position. So we'll keep Ertz in mind, but again, Hopkins is absorbing a lot of those targets, and he is the most expensive tight end on the slate, which does not excite me. Pitts, meh. Are we chasing Pitts as one kind of decent week of the year? 9 targets. Had a good week. I don't know if I'm ready to chase it. Hawkinson, new team. A little bit tricky on a player with a new team. Yeah, I really like, there's a couple of names I really like here, but Gerald Everett stands out for me. I mentioned earlier about how the Chargers, they don't really have a lot of pass catchers in this game. Keenan Allen might not play. Mike Williams definitely won't play. I don't know what the status of Palmer is, but even if he does, they're going to have to throw to somebody. And with their WR1 and WR2 out for this game, I think Gerald Everett will be a little more involved. And at 5,800, I will take my chances with Gerald Everett. By the way, if you like what we're doing here, if you like these first look videos, if you like DFS, if you hate it, I don't care. Smash a like on the video. That's right. Even if you hate it, hit that like button. Helps us out, helps the algo, and it lets me know that you're out there watching. Let me know who your favorite QB on DraftKings is this week, or give me a QB wide receiver combo that you're starting your lineup with. Hit us up in the comments. I read all the comments, so give me some ideas. I love it. All right, continuing on, let's talk running back. And again, guys, if you have a running back you like, let me know in the comments. Hey, I really like this guy this week, and tell me why. Tell me why you like him. But I'm going to go through the position group. So obviously, I really love Eckler. Again, with fewer pass catchers on the Chargers, Eckler really stands out. They tend to feature him in these situations. The problem is at 9,400, I don't think I can even get that in a lineup and have any sort of decent salary left. So I think we're going to have to hang in the middling zone here or figure some other salary savings out. Jacobs at 9K, also a little expensive, although I think Jacobs bounces right back and probably will have a good game in this spot. Just 8,800 is quite a bit to pay. Dalvin Cook has not been my guy this season, just has not been doing it. He had a good game this past week, but for the most part, we're getting a lot more of these 12s and 13s and 5s and 14s, just not enough to justify 860. You need a 24. So you might be like, oh, he had a great game last week. He just made value, barely. So, and that was a unique situation on the season where he got those 6 targets. So I don't know that we can count on that most weeks. I think 8,500 is a bit expensive for Cook. Similar for Kenny Walker. I love Kenny Walker, 8,300. Probably going to be a little bit too high priced for us to afford. Does not get passing game work, although that's not super important on FanDuel compared to DraftKings. Joe Mixon at 8,100. Yeah, I think that's a good play. Mixon, another player, though, that lacks good games so far this year. Last year, Joe Mixon got us 6 appearances in the Millie Maker winning lineup. So far this year, we're at 0. So for him to match last year, he pretty much needs to be in the Nuts lineup every single week for the rest of the season. I don't know if he's going to pull it off. Ramondre, fine, but 8K is a bit, again, expensive for a player that is not getting all the touches for his team. A lot of pass catching work last week against the Jets. That's what really got him there. Aaron Jones, yeah, I kind of like Aaron Jones here. Man, I don't generally like to play Aaron Jones too much, but he's coming off a couple good weeks. But the prime thing is last week they kind of figured out that they need to lean on Aaron Jones to win these games. I don't know if that will continue this week. A.J. Dillon's still involved, but I'm interested in Aaron Jones. But Travis Etienne is my first plug him in. And the big thing here is the Chargers have been the absolute worst, or one of the worst teams against the run on the season. I love what Etienne is doing. Now that they got rid of Robinson, there's no one in the way. 24 carries last week, couple targets. This dude is a beast. He's young. He's got those fresh young legs, running back legs. No wear and tear on those types. Don't look like old man Melvin Gordon out there just slogging away. This kid he's bouncing around. So I really like Travis Etienne for this spot. 66.5 left. Let's continue down the running back list, and we'll kind of figure out who our other spots are as we go, or we'll have to go back if there's no screaming values here. DeAndre Swift has an injury, and normally I would like him in this spot a lot, but that injury and the unknown workload is just unacceptable, right? I cannot take chances on that, not in a core lineup, so I'm avoiding it. Similar with Jamal. I don't know how much Swift work is going to get, so I don't really want to play Jamal for 7,500. I think it's too much. Donta Foreman had a great game last week, but this one is not as good of a spot. But more importantly, Chuba Hubbard could be back. So I'll keep Foreman in mind, but can't really lock him in. Fournette against the Rams, maybe. But again, the volume has just not been there. 8 rushes, 9 rushes. They're working Rashad White into the mix. I don't know. It doesn't stand out for me very well. Montgomery also kind of losing work right now to Khalil Herbert. Herbert last week, 16 carries where Montgomery got, I think 18 or 15 carries. So, I mean, take with that what you will. I don't want another. This is a timeshare that I'm not into. Oh, how the mighty hath fallen. Jonathan Taylor is now a $6,800 player, priced below David Montgomery. I don't know what's happening, but it's been a rough year for Jonathan Taylor. Unfortunately, the Patriots really do kind of know how to take away your best weapon, and without many other weapons for the Colts. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm not sure that you can even play Jonathan Taylor at this price. Benjamin, meh. I mean, again, 6,600, good price point. Has not seen a ton of work. I want to look a little further into that. Raheem Mostert also, and Tyler Algier, and this is about it. So it's Mostert and Algier, and that's about it for me. There's nowhere else really down here that I'd be interested in. So I think for our RB2, we're going to have to pay up a little bit. We're going to have to suck it up. I'm going with Aaron Jones. I have got a feeling about Aaron Jones against Detroit. Seems like we can maybe kind of afford it. We'll see. All right, wide receiver. So we've got 6,200 left. I'm not loving it. Going back to it. Mixon, Ramondre. Man, the running back position is really, really sketchy. It's just very sketchy this week. Man, it's hard to pick a second one. Ramondre? Maybe. Mixon? Maybe. I think the play, is it Mixon? Is he our play? Oh boy. All right, let's go with Jones here. He's more of a FanDuel play for me, a DraftKings play with the passing game work, but he's also a touchdown scorer. Yeah, a little scary, but going to go with Aaron Jones. But what I'm feeling already now as I'm putting this lineup together is that the running back position is going to be a little bit tricky. And my goodness, if I'm kind of thinking about Algier here, Tyler Algier, oof. I mean, it's pretty gross. No, I can't do it. I cannot do that. No, can't. Going to have to pay up, which means we're going to have to find some salary savings here at the wide receiver position. So let's go through the full position group and see what we could figure out. So obviously Cooper Kupp, always good. Justin Jefferson, always good. Stephon Diggs, always good. I don't know if I'm paying up for Diggs in this spot. Jefferson, sure, 9K, but obviously, and Cooper Kupp, it's a little weird to me that Kupp and Jefferson are the same. Kupp is the better player, but he's got the ankle issue, a little scary. So I get it. But none of this can be afforded in this sort of a lineup. We'd have to dump Tyreek Hill. Fine by me for Cooper Kupp most weeks, but not if I have a Tua at the head of the lineup. Hopkins 8,600, also great, but again, can't really afford that. Adams at 8,100, so he is now kind of priced down a little bit relative to the other studs, but understandable. I keep saying this every week. Devontae Adams is a little less steady with his targets than some of these other studs. You need your studs getting 12, 13 targets a week, and look what the other studs are doing. Not so much Waddle. Waddle is also probably way too expensive right now, but if you look at the stud group, they're all getting double-digit targets, 13 and 14 for Hopkins, 13, 11, 11, 15. So double-digit targets most weeks for Diggs. Jefferson, 13, 13, 12, 11. Most weeks, again, double-digit targets, the occasional drop down. But when he gets that drop down, look what happens with the scoring. Like his big games come with the big target volume. Targets equal fantasy production. And Cooper Kupp is pretty much always in the double-digit target range, and he always produces. So of this whole group, I think you just go with Cooper Kupp, especially with the scary ankle thing, where we'll find out what that's about. But for this lineup, it doesn't really work. T. Higgins, good spot. 8K, though. Mike Evans, already talked about him. Good spot. Tyler Lockett, sure. DK Metcalf, sure. Both fine. Keenan Allen did not practice on Monday. That is a bad sign for him. Terry McLaurin, 7,200, pretty much precludes him from any use. In my mind, Amon-Ra, 7,100. I like that spot for him. DJ Moore, probably not. Allen Robinson, now 7K. What? He's dumped on your season-long roster. Now he's 7K. It's crazy. Chris Godwin, 6,700. The guy I'm plugging in here is going to be Gabriel Davis. And there's a couple reasons, but primarily, the Bills are going to style on the Jets, and the Jets do have a good corner. He's probably going to be on Diggs, so why not throw it to Davis? Price is right. I've got some interest in Christian Kirk. It's been a while since he's had a good game, but he's definitely crossed that 10 target threshold a couple times on the year. And these have been some brutal wide receiver match, although not all of them. Actually, I can't forgive him for the Houston game. You know what? Screw you. Unforgivable. So I think I have our last two spots. I'm going to give you some reasoning here. So number one, I'm going to go with Darnell Mooney. Now, wait, what about Chase Claypool? Is he on the slate yet? No, he's not even here. He might be added, but for now, Darnell Mooney. And it's just, if we're going to play Tua, we're going to play Hill, we might as well get a bring back going on Chicago. And that's Darnell Mooney. He's the best pass catcher they have, and he's 6,100 and fits on our salary remaining. So why not? This is going to be a tough one. Like I said, I hope that some value opens up as the week rolls on. I'm just going to scan down in the cheap zone at wide receiver and see if there's anybody that's standing out or mispriced. I always like Zay Jones down here at 5,500. So if we absolutely needed somebody, that's available. Isaiah McKenzie also, he's tied in with Josh Allen, and that's always a good thing. Always a threat to score a touchdown, even if the upside isn't huge. So FanDuel doesn't require us to generally put like a supreme turd in our lineups the way that FanDuel does, but you do have to find some value. So with the last spot, I'm going Romeo Doubs. Again, we get that Green Bay-Detroit matchup, that juicy matchup that I'm looking to get exposure to. I would have liked to get Amon-Ra in here, but unfortunately, if we're going to pay for Tua, there's just no salary savings available to also get another 7K wide receiver in here, at least not without sacrificing somewhere else. So that's going to do it for the FanDuel first look. Hopefully you found this video helpful. And if you did, again, I just ask you, please smash the like button, subscribe, and let me know who your favorite QB wide receiver combo is, and give me some of your favorite running backs on the slate. And again, running back is going to be the tough spot this week. So you're going to really need to get this right in order to make any money. And you can see here the way that the salaries work. It's crazy. Last week, I just loaded up on Pollard. I loaded up on Foreman, and I could do whatever I wanted with my lineups. And this week, it's the polar opposite. There's no value here sitting here on Tuesday night. So we're going to have to be really creative with our FanDuel lineups this week. Good luck this week, everybody. I will see you on Wednesday for the game plan, where we break down all of the games from a betting and DFS angle with the legend himself, John Statsational Alessia. So stick around for that. And of course, Wednesday evening for the showdown breakdown on for the Thursday night showdown breakdown. So I will see you guys then. Good luck this week. Like, subscribe, notification bell. And if you want to sign up at DFS Army, of course, make sure you use my promo code Geek and get 10% off VIP, get access to all our awesome tools. Good luck.